Finally, other countries have led the way in public displays of support for health service workers. Well, this evening at 8 o'clock, as you saw at the start of the programme, it was our turn. Clap for our carers, it was called. Public displays of anything much are not, historically, very British things to do. Standing on your doorstep or at your window or on a walkway and clapping into the darkness might in other times have felt a touch strange, but not today. Tonight, millions of people did just that.
It was a moment the country came together to say thank you to those who take care of us. Families who had spent the day indoors stepped outside briefly to let the NHS workers know just how much they're appreciated.
We're very, very thankful for everything you're doing.
From the capital to the streets of Birmingham, the message was the same. This was Sheffield. And this Middlesbrough, as the sound of grateful applause rang across the United Kingdom. Downing Street joined in the mood, the Prime Minister and his Chancellor showing their appreciation. Across the capital, iconic buildings had been illuminated in blue in honour of the NHS. It was an unprecedented show of pride in the men and women on the front line of a battle that threatens us all. Wembley Stadium putting that pride into words. Earlier, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge released these pictures of their children George, Charlotte and Louis making their contribution from Sandringham. Their grandfather, Prince Charles, is pictured here joining in tonight. He is recovering after testing positive for the virus. His brother, Prince Edward, spoke for the family.
So from all of us, just a huge thank you to so many of you working on the front line. We really appreciate it. Keep up the fantastic work.
Even British forces posted abroad, like these Royal Scots Dragoon Guards deployed to Poland, have echoed the same sentiment. It has been a day and a night when a nation said thank you to those who are caring for us now and whose dedication will be tested even more.
Across Britain tonight, thousands of people opened their windows and doors or went into the street to applaud National Health Service staff who are working on the front line of this coronavirus crisis. People clapped from all corners of the United Kingdom. Buildings were lit up in blue, the colour of the NHS. Members of the royal family took part, including Prince Charles, who has the virus himself and is in self-isolation. David Silito reports.
It had begun with a single post on social media. A young yoga teacher suggested a doorstep show of support for the nation's carers, health workers and all those who support them. And the result? This. In what is a time of isolation and fear. Street after street after street, a national moment of thanks and togetherness. Glasgow, Belfast, Leeds, London.
As you can see, it's an extraordinary sight. On this street alone, everyone has turned out. A reminder of just what this has done. Well, not just to help the carers, but also bring communities together.
Now, a little earlier this evening, London joined in the nationwide clap for our carers. Londoners stood in their streets and at their doorsteps to thank the NHS for their tireless and courageous work. And across the capital, landmarks like the Shard and the London Eye turned blue for Britain's healthcare system.
And all of this from that single online suggestion just a week ago. And the applause, some of it had to be done before bedtime. There was also a royal contribution to this day's show of support, including Prince Charles, who's tested positive for the coronavirus and is now in isolation. It was a national thank you. There will be many difficult times in the weeks to come, but this was a positive moment. one will remember.
Shall we look at the papers this morning, show you what's going on, what people have picked up on? We'll start with the Daily Mirror, which has dedicated its front page to clap for our carers. There's a photograph of staff from the Royal Liverpool Hospital reacting to that really emotional show of support from the participants across the UK, and that included the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge's children.
Let's have a look at the Times. Claims that the housing market has been plunged into chaos after the government called on people to delay moving home. Ben will talk to us a little more about that throughout the morning this morning. A significant development, that one, and also a photo from some people just out on the doorstep last night in that NHS carers tribute.
Picture you're seeing, actually, is 93-year-old Barbara Lee, you saw, and she had a bell, making sure she was heard, making absolutely sure. The Guardian leads with a story about nurses being sent to London to face a tsunami of coronavirus patients within days. So what the paper says is that doctors are going to be asked to sleep on site for 6 weeks at the new makeshift Nightingale Hospital in East London's Excel Centre. So just showing where the concentration of NHS staff is going to be put just for the moment.
And finally, something a little bit different. This is the NHS Heroes Tracker. It was sent by a number of local papers and allows people to drop a heart on the map wherever in the UK they live to create what they call a living map of gratitude.
I hadn't heard of that.
So just little moments, I suppose. It could be a very small thing, or it could be something really significant.
And so the number there is 151,535, and I'm assuming that is the number of people who have dropped a heart somewhere in the UK to express their gratitude, their appreciation, their affection for those who are caring and working in the NHS.
It's all the little things at the moment that are making a big difference. And people across the UK have taken part in a national round of applause to show their support for health workers.
Last night, people took to their doorsteps, windows and balconies to cheer and clap to show their appreciation for carers and NHS staff who are on the front line of the coronavirus outbreak. Major landmarks throughout the country, including the Shard in London and the BT Tower, they were lit up in blue in tribute.
So finally, let's look at some of these aerial pictures from last night. Above London, shall we? We were talking about people coming out onto their streets to clap for carers. This is Tottenham's new stadium, a fantastic stadium in North London, lit up in blue for the NHS. And Spurs players as well have put pictures on social media of them clapping, and Wembley as well, also lit up in blue. There's the famous arch above London to celebrate what the NHS are doing for us during this pandemic. And, well, it was very emotional, wasn't it, last night? I don't think I was the only one to shed a tear on our street, out in my dressing gown before I went to bed.
You absolutely, it was an early night, you absolutely were not the only one to find it very emotional. And hopefully, Kat, thanks very much, all those NHS and NHS workers, the carers, all those people that were being clapped for, felt just a little bit of appreciation.
Yeah, and we're